It's the early 1990s. Up on a cold, fog-drenched mountaintop, a billionaire is soaking in his private jacuzzi. He's sipping champagne, enjoying a meal prepared by his personal chef, and watching his favorite soccer team win 3-0 on television. That billionaire is Pablo Escobar. Even while relaxing here, his massive cartel is actively smuggling tons of cocaine to every corner of the globe. Looking out over his mountain fortress, he appears completely untouchable. Yet, according to the state, he is currently an inmate serving a 5-year sentence in a maximum security prison. To understand how the world's most wanted man convinced a sovereign nation to let him build a 5-star resort and label it a penitentiary, we have to look at the massive leverage he held over the government. By this point, Escobar had amassed a personal fortune of roughly $30 billion. He used that wealth to fund a wave of violence that left the streets of Colombia soaked in blood. The crisis peaked in the lead-up to the 1990 presidential election. Luis Carlos Galán ran on a platform to wipe out cartel corruption, and Escobar's hitmen assassinated him in broad daylight. Galán had supported the one thing Escobar truly feared: extradition to the United States. Facing the prospect of spending his life in an isolated American cell, Escobar decided to dictate his own terms of surrender. He offered to turn himself in and halt the violence, but only if the 1991 Constitution banned extradition. He also demanded to design the prison himself and select the guards who would patrol it. The government, battered and desperate for peace, accepted the deal. Escobar's arrival at the facility was a surrender in name only. In reality, the Colombian state had conceded to his terms. From the outside, the facility known as La Catedral maintained the appearance of state detention. High walls, barbed wire fences, and armed guards gave the impression of a standard penitentiary. However, every architectural choice was tactical. Escobar and his brother had scouted this specific mountaintop because it provided unobstructed, long-distance surveillance of the entire valley. The steep terrain meant anyone attempting to reach the compound had to navigate narrow roads, forcing vehicles into an easily monitored choke point. Even the weather worked to his advantage. A thick fog blanketed the area, neutralizing any threat of a surprise aerial assault. That same fog provided perfect cover for movement. While it hid the compound from above, military vehicles used the low visibility to secretly haul millions of dollars in cash, fresh provisions, and escorts right up the mountain. La Cathedral was designed with a singular, inverted purpose. The perimeter served to keep his assassins on the other side of the fence. Once you stepped past those perimeter walls, the penal atmosphere disappeared. The interior housed state-of-the-art kitchens, massive television screens, billiards rooms, and private saunas. He built a life-sized dollhouse for his daughter's visits and installed a rotating disco floor to host elaborate parties that ran late into the night. Perhaps the most striking display of his power happened on the pristine soccer pitch he built right on the grounds. In 1991, Escobar invited the entire 22-man roster of the Colombian national team up the mountain. They shared a feast of smoked salmon and caviar and then played a private match with the cartel boss. As they played, the state-appointed prison guards stood on the sidelines, serving refreshments to the professional athletes and the cartel leader. This soccer match was the final confirmation that within these walls, the laws of the Colombian justice system were effectively suspended. The arrangement finally collapsed after about a year. Word leaked out that Escobar had summoned 2 of his own cartel members to the prison, where they were tortured, murdered, and buried inside the compound. For many in the government, this proved that Escobar's internal justice system had completely overridden state authority on Colombian soil. In July of 1992, officials issued a mandate to transfer him to a legitimate state facility. To enforce it, they mobilized the 4th Brigade of the National Army. Armed troops surrounded La Catedral with weapons drawn, accompanied by the country's Vice Minister of Justice to oversee the sudden move. Escobar's brazen violence had finally made the political facade impossible to maintain, forcing the government to address the luxury sanctuary they had authorized. Instead of surrendering, Escobar took the Vice Minister of Justice hostage. A chaotic gunfight broke out, leaving casualties on the ground and the compound in disarray. In the confusion, he accomplished the seemingly impossible. He walked out of his heavily fortified compound, slipping past hundreds of soldiers who had been trained by U.S. Delta Force. He vanished into the surrounding jungle, evading capture for 16 months, before finally being shot dead on a Medellin rooftop. La Catedral remains a permanent reminder of the moment a single criminal became wealthy enough to force a nation to fund his sanctuary.